Hey, Giant fans. Welcome to the Giant Insider Podcast. My name is Jerry Foley. I'm the senior editor of the Giant Insider newspaper. And with me, as always, is Chris Bisignano, the beat writer of the Giant Insider. And Chris, a little congratulations for you, buddy. You were on Patty Traina's Locked On podcast. And for those of you who know Patty Traina, who follow her, she's very engaged with her Twitter followers. She's been doing this for about 20 years as far as covering the Giants. One of the best in the business. And she invited Chris on her podcast, and she told me that there were 3,500 downloads in the first night. So, Chris, congratulations, buddy. A little time to gloat. I mean, you got the Red Sox, you got Patty Traina's podcast.
Yeah, it was nice. Very nice of Patty to bring me on. A lot of respect for her. I know you do too, Jerry. She's been around a while, I think since 2000, covering the Giants, and well-respected writer. And it was a pleasure to be on her show.
Yeah, she actually asked me if you could come on, which I thought was both awesome and ridiculous. Like, yeah, I mean, yes, of course he could go on. Are you kidding me? So I thought that was very nice of her, totally unnecessary. And she invited me on next week, buddy. So we'll see how those downloads go. Not that I'm competing, but would like to see what I bring to the table. But, congrats to you and a nice job by Patty. Again, she's I think she's at Patty Traina on Twitter. And
at Patty Traina. Yeah, and Locked On podcast.
Yeah, her podcast is Locked On Giants. So good for you guys and good for her. So
yeah, it was a good time. Good time.
So tonight I want to discuss the Jerry Reese, Marc Ross error. That's not a Queens accent. Not error, ERROR.
Right.
And then we'll get into the job that Hal Hunter's doing, and you wanted to go into that. And then we'll make our weekly picks. But before we do that, I was listening to The Fan before. And Francesa, I admit I'm a Francesa fan. I listen to him. Not every day, but if I'm in the car, I'll turn him on. And a lot of it's because he's just on the air. He's been on the air for years. But also, to be honest, he's more fair to the Giants than a lot of guys on that station. And for all of his faults, he is fair to the Giants. But, man, he said something around 6:15 that I thought was ridiculous. Someone called up and wanted to talk about Dr. Z, Paul Zimmerman, who passed away. He was a ridiculous, awesome sports writer for Sports Illustrated. And when I got into him, it was when I was older. I used to love his power rankings on Wednesdays on SportsIllustrated.com. So that's kind of where I know him. And then as I look back at my old Sports Illustrated, I'm like, oh, yeah, Paul Zimmerman, that's the same guy. But he wanted to call up and talk about him passing away. And Francesa says, oh, I wasn't aware he passed away. And then he proceeded to say, yeah, we were very close. I knew him very, very well. And I just thought, God forbid Chris Bisignano passed away, or I did. Like, you'd know within an hour, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just typical Mike, right? Yeah.
Yeah. What else can you say to that? Like, oh, Mike, you outdo yourselves. You outdo yourself every single time, every day with something new.
Yeah.
And one of the great Twitter accounts that not trolls him, but does bring up some of his inconsistencies is at Back After This, and we follow it. And this guy posts videos of him every day, seemingly saying things like that. So. Anyway, I wanted to discuss the Jerry Reese, Marc Ross error because, quite frankly, I'm petty, and I've been that way since, I don't know. I remember everybody who's wronged me since I was in kindergarten, for God's sake. And what Marc Ross did the other day, and we're not going to talk about it much after this podcast, but what Marc Ross did the other day, based on the number of times Chris said the word buffoon, I think everyone can agree that it was disrespectful and disgusting. And, again, we believe that Ross and Reese put the Giants in the position they're currently in. So he became, I think, director of scouting in 2008, so after the 2007 draft. And, Chris, just real quick, let's comment on the 2007 draft. This was really before Ross assumed the role that he was in for what kind of made him famous. 2007 draft, Reese added beautifully to what Accorsi gave him, right? So Reese took over 2007 after 2006 season. And I'll go through 1 through 7. In the first round, he added Aaron Ross, solid corner. Second round, he added Steve Smith, third and Smith, a very good possession receiver. Round 3, Jay Alford. Didn't do much with the Giants, but had a huge sack in the Super Bowl. Round 4, Zach Diassi, great find, still on the team. Round 5, Kevin Boss. If it wasn't for concussions, who knows? Maybe he'd still be playing. Round 6, Adam Coates, swing and a miss there, but I mean, we're already in round 6, and he's kind of 5 for 5 so far. Then round 7, he hit Michael Johnson, a safety who actually played some for the Giants, and in round 7, Ahmad Bradshaw. So that obviously was a A to an A+ draft for Jerry Reese.
Yeah, that was probably his best draft. I'm looking through these draft picks. That was probably his best draft at 2007. Those guys actually contributed to the Super Bowl team too.
Yeah, almost every one of them. Even like I said, Jay Alford didn't do much, but who can forget the sack of Brady in the final drive? So then 2008, again, first 3 rounds, more than solid, right? Kenny Phillips, who was on his way to being a stud safety before he had that degenerative condition in his knee, who still had a decent career, but was really going on to be something special. Round 1. Round 2, Terrell Thomas, I thought he was going to be a shutdown corner. Tore his ACL in 2011 in a play. He shouldn't have been in the game at that point. Blitzing from the corner and hit Jason Pierre-Paul, freakish accident. And he was still good, but 2009 and 10, he was very good. He was a very good corner. And then the third round, Mario Manningham made probably the second most famous catch that any Giant player ever made. And here's where it starts going off the rails a bit. Round 4, Brian Keel, linebacker. Round 5, Jonathan Goff, linebacker from Vanderbilt. Round 6, Andre Woodson, quarterback. Weird pick. I mean, what the hell did you take a quarterback for? Round 7, Robert Henderson. So he adds one guy in the trenches, and then pretty much everyone else are skill position. I don't know if you call linebacker skill position, but he added 2 smallish linebackers in Keel and Goff. So, I mean, 2008, again, round 4 starts to go off the rails a bit for Reese and Ross, and this is where Ross was more involved.
I don't want to get picky either, Jerry, but no Pro Bowlers. Except for Smith. I think Steve Smith did make it one year, right?
Yeah, that's a good... Well, Smith was, 2007. Yeah, so the year before. Right, very good. That's a good point.
Okay, I'm just saying, I don't want to be picky. Some nice plays he drafted, but no Pro Bowlers, right? Except for Steve Smith turning into one, I think, a couple years later. Go ahead.
Yep, so round 9, first round, Hakeem Nicks. Can't argue with that one. He was the most NFL-ready receiver, made a ton of good catches. Career cut short because of injuries. Round 2... Clint Sintum, a 3-4 linebacker who we tried to make a defensive end. Round 2, also Will Beatty. Well, not have to go into that one much more. Round 3, Ramses Barden. Round 3, Travis Beckham. Round 4, Andre Brown, running back. Round 5, Rhett Bomar, quarterback from Sam Houston State. Round 6, DeAndre Wright, defensive back. Round 7, Stoney Woodson, defensive back. Any comments on that one, Chris?
I mean, there's a draft right there, right? Yeah. That except for Knicks for a few years, nobody contributed. Yes, Speedy started games, but he was an average, a mediocre tackle at best.
Right.
So, right. I mean, nobody in the trenches contributed. All you have is Hakeem Nicks on the outside, like I always say, right? This is what we talk about. He builds from the outside in, Reese, right? He built from the outside in.
Yep.
So, Nicks, that was it for that draft. One guy contributed, Knicks.
Now, I was go back to the 81 draft where they got Taylor, and I think it was 12 rounds back then. They got Taylor, and then they missed a lot. And then they got Billy Ard and Byron Hunt were mixed in there. And you can do that if you get a Lawrence Taylor type. Hakeem Nicks is not. I guess my point is there are drafts where you can hit on one guy and say, that was a very good draft because we got an all-time great. But I mean, that's rare. Like, you can't do that with Hakeem Nicks and then make the rest of them, not that he was trying to, but for the most part, the rest of those picks were throwaway picks.
Did Knicks ever make the Pro Bowl, Jerry? You're better at this than me. Did he ever make a Pro Bowl?
I don't know if he did. I don't think so. I'd have to look it up real quick.
All right, so far I have 3 drafts and 1 Pro Bowl, I think 1 year or 2 years top Steve Smith. That's all I have so far.
I don't think he did because his numbers were never that great. He was a very good receiver, but I don't think he ever made the Pro Bowl. Or if he did, it was maybe as like an alternate or something.
Yeah, so, before we look it up, I just don't. Oh, right off the top of my head, I don't believe he did either.
No, I just looked it up. A Super Bowl champ.
But needless to say, Jerry, before we go further,
no, he was 2-time first team All ACC.
Yeah, before we go any further, I mean, we can say this for sure: no offensive lineman Pro Bowlers, not even close to even starting. I mean, BD started, but he was average.
Right. So, 2010, Jason Pierre-Paul. We all know he started off great, then kind of fell off. Then had the accident. Second round, 2010. Linval Joseph, very good pick. Too bad didn't have the foresight to keep him. Round 3, Chad Jones got in a tragic car accident, never played. But, it would have been interesting to see what he could have done. Round 4, Philip Dillard. Oh, the linebacker picks go on and on for Reese, man. Philip Dillard out of Nebraska. Round 5, Mitch Petrus, guard, Arkansas. Round 6, Adrian Tracy, defensive end / linebacker from William & Mary. Round 7, we all know who this was. Matt Dodge, punter.
Okay, so the 2010 draft, I'm looking at here too. Now, one offensive lineman, a couple of linebackers.
Well, no,
nobody
Mitch
even,
Petrus,
I'm sorry, one offensive lineman.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
one offensive lineman.
Right, Mitch Petrus, who did not have a career with the Giants. He got a couple of linebackers that didn't do anything. One safety, the poor kid had a accident, and Linval Joseph, who was pretty good with us, and he really escalated when he went to the Vikings, and Pierre Paul. All right, so far, offensive line help, 0. 3 drafts.
All right.
Jerry Reese.
Round 2011. Round 1, Prince Amukamara. He dropped for a reason, folks.
Oh, gosh.
Round 2, Marvin Austin.
Mm.
Round 3, Jarrell Jernigan.
Mm-hmm.
Round 4, James Brewer, offensive lineman, Indiana.
Yeah.
No rounds 5. Round 6, Greg Jones, linebacker. Round 6, Tyler Sash tragically passed away a few years ago. Actually, defensive back.
Yeah.
Round 6, Jaquan Williams, linebacker. He was decent. Round 7, Darrell Scott. Any comments, Chris?
Well, I think it's pretty repetitive, right? No offensive line help. Again, from Mark Smiley Ross and Jerry Reese.
Yeah, and Marvin Austin.
Number 1 pick, right? And once again, excuse me, Jerry. Yeah. Once again, no Pro Bowlers.
No, not in that group. I mean, talk about swinging and missing on Marvin Austin in round 2. And I remember seeing...
How about swinging and missing on number 19 overall? Prince.
Yeah.
He's decent, but not an impact corner.
No, but Marvin Austin was just not, all he did was he injured Mark Sanchez in the preseason. That was his only contribution, if he had any. I remember seeing someone that summer at the South Jersey Shore who played with Marvin Austin and said, "You got a lazy guy there. He doesn't work very hard." And it seemed that Reese got away from, and I'm not a huge Wonderlic guy, but I believe in it a little. Reese seemed to get away from that. He didn't do the background on a lot of these guys, and it just seemed like a lot of draft picks that he took were their work ethic could be questioned. But so now it really starts getting hairy in 2012. So the 2011 team kind of lived off the fumes of Ernie Accorsi and the 2007 draft with a little sprinkled in 2008. So now we're 2012. This is where it all turns to crap. David Wilson, round 1. He wanted Doug Martin, panicked and took Wilson, who was dynamic, but not a Tom Coughlin type of running back. Round 2, Ruben Randall. Oof. Round 3, Jaron Hosley from Virginia Tech, defensive back.
By the way, speaking of lazy, Ruben Randall, go ahead.
Oh, God, the worst. Round 4, the JPP of tight ends, Adrian Robinson.
Yeah, he had a good career.
And he was someone who, when he came out, they thought. I remember when Rutgers was in the Big East. I think Cincinnati was too back then. And I remember a guy I worked with said, "I've never even heard of Adrian Robinson. I watch the Big East every week. I think he's the backup tight end." We took him in round 4. Round 4.
Marc Ross. Yeah, Jerry Reese.
Round 4 also, Brandon Mosley, tackle.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Round 6, Matt McCants, tackle. Round 7, Marcus Kuhn.
I mean, just look at this. Just look at this draft right here. An absolute abomination.
Yeah.
Okay? Look at it. I mean, horrific.
Yep.
You know? Go ahead.
I just wanted
to, I just laugh. Once again, no Pro Bowlers, not even remotely close to a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You want
to go to 13?
Yeah, 2013. Round 1, Justin Pugh. Marginal. Round 2, Jonathan Hankins, who I thought was good, but is he on a team now? Did he get picked up by the Saints maybe?
Yeah. John Gruden has him.
John Gruden or
John Gruden has him. The Raiders have him.
With the Raiders. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Round 3, your buddy, DeMontre Moore.
Yeah, it's the guy who yelled at in training camp that he's lazy.
So just so you
and he yelled back at me, he's not lazy. Okay, guess what? He was lazy.
So you all know, 2 years ago, Chris wasn't involved in the Insider, but we would talk. I knew Chris, and he would say, "Jer, DeMontre Moore, no good." And I said, "Why?" He goes, I was at a practice and I yelled over to him. He doesn't even pay attention to what he's doing. So that was interesting.
Yeah, folks. Just quickly, I was watching him stretch, and he was the only guy in the field that was half, stretching. And I yelled through the fence, "Hey, you want to get off your butt? This is a big year for you." And he kind of looked at me and said, gave me a phrase like to shut up. I said, "You're lazy. That's your problem." And guess what, folks? He was lazy.
He was lazy. Round 4, Ryan Nassib, who, when Reese took him, said, "I hope he never plays." Great job, Reese, in round 4.
Yeah, just look at these middle round picks. Go
Round
ahead.
5, Cooper Taylor from Richmond. Oof.
Yeah, he was right up there with Earl Thomas.
Round 7, Eric Herman, offensive
Who?
lineman. Exactly.
Oh yeah,
And then round 7, Michael Cox from Massachusetts. I guess they were trying to strike
that was his sleeper pick.
gold
Remember?
with another cruise type of player from Massachusetts.
Yeah. So just look at this draft. Nobody, no Pro Bowlers, and no help. Well, Pugh played a lot of snaps for us. He gave us something up front, but no impact guys again.
But where Pugh went, it's funny that they have maybe the second worst offensive line in football, right? The Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, in Arizona? Yeah. They're in the top 5. They're in the top 4. And Pugh's playing mediocre at best. Yeah.
I mean, that's what he was. That's what he was.
Anybody keeps like, oh, we should have kept Pugh. Guys, please stop. Go ahead.
2014. This is the Finding Giants draft, the special they had that they act like it was never made. Like it must be hidden in a vault in the NFL Network. Round 1, Odell Beckham. Okay, there you go. Great pick. Round 2, Weston Richburg, the best center in the draft, we were told, from Colorado State, who we played at guard first because Reese brought in J.D. Walton that year to play center, which I thought was a hell of a move. Yeah. Round 3, Jay Bromley, defensive tackle, Syracuse. Round 4, Andre Williams, running back, Boston College. Round 5, Nat Burhay, the missile, or the concussion, they should have called him, from San Diego State, round 5. Round 5, Devin Kennard, who I liked, USC. And then round 6, Bennett Jackson, Golden Domer, buddy. There you go.
Yeah, he had injuries took out his career early, and But once you look at this draft, okay, you got Odell, a Pro Bowler, and that's it. Done.
Yep.
Kennard was decent. He's having probably his best year this year with the Lions.
Yes. All right, 2015, round 1, as if I need to remind everybody. Eric Flowers. Round 2.
Pro Bowler.
Round 2, Landon Collins. Okay. There you go. He's a Pro Bowler. Round 3, Owamabe Odigizua.
There's a guy he didn't know if he wanted to play football every 10 minutes.
Now this one, round 5, there was no round 4. Round 5, here's a guy who said, after he was drafted, I didn't expect to get drafted. Michael Thompson, safety / corner from Texas. He said the words to the Giants. I was on Giants.com. I didn't expect to get drafted. Okay.
Right.
Round 6, Jeremy Davis from Connecticut, wide receiver. And round 7, Bobby Hart, Florida State guard.
Yeah. Who's having his best year on another team now? Go ahead.
2016, we panicked. Again, another panic pick. Eli Apple.
There you go.
Sterling Shepard. Okay. But again, it's a skill position guy. Round 3, Darian Thompson, not on the team anymore. Round 4, B.J. Goodson. He's a marginal linebacker. Round 5, Paul Perkins. I think he's on the team, but he's on injured reserve.
Yeah.
And round 6, Jarrell Adams, who I didn't think was that bad, but we cut him. But again, not nothing to write home about. So there you go. That's 2016, buddy. Any comments on the last 2?
Nah, same old stuff, bud. Number 1 pick is a failure. No Pro Bowlers, no impact players, no offensive line help.
All right. 2017, round 1, Evan Ingram. Potential, but drops a lot. Round 2, Dalvin Tomlinson. I like Dalvin Tomlinson, and this is where Reese finally took a defensive tackle that is contributing. I mean, Hankins contributed too, but this is at least he's built a little bit through this. I'm reaching at this point.
Mind you, at this point, our offensive line is shambles. Go ahead.
That's right. That was we didn't take Ramchick. Round 3, Davis Webb. Round 4, Wayne Gallman. Round 5, Avery Moss, who I think is on the practice squad. And
yes, he is.
The last pick in the Jerry Reese, Marc Ross error, Adam Bisnawadi, tackle, Pittsburgh.
There you go.
So there you go.
There you go, folks.
So when Marc Ross goes on national television and laughs at the state of the Giants, you contributed, my friend. This is all on you and your buddy Jerry Reese. As Chris would say, you two buffoons.
Well, it's why we are where we are today, my friend.
Yes, it is. So, all right. I know you wanted to discuss Hal Hunter, the offensive line coach of the Giants. You wanted to bring this up. So, buddy, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Well, you have to look at some things that's going on. Now, there's no other sport in the four major sports that is impacted more by coaching.
Right.
Okay?
I agree.
When you look at the Giant offensive line and how it's regressing, I understand there's not much talent up front. But I also, when a certain unit on a football team is not performing well and regressing during the course of the season, I immediately look at the coach. Why are we not progressing? Why is this unit getting worse? Oh, well, because Chris, Spencer Pulley's in there. Greco's a veteran. He's not much. Okay. The coaching is huge. Hal Hunter, who was not even in football last year, and he's been around forever, is not doing the job. I'm sorry.
Now is he a downgrade from Solari from last year?
I believe he's a downgrade from Solari.
Yeah.
Okay, I do believe that. When you see the way this unit's playing, communication-wise, regressing as far as technique-wise, blocking-wise, everything you could think of, I have to look at the coach also. Okay? And Hal Hunter, in my opinion, should not be back in 2019. Now, of course, I know we're not dealing with Pro Bowls up front, anything like that. But here's a prime example, Jerry, that I mentioned this too with Patty the other day. Prime example of what you have to look at is the New England Patriots, okay, who were struggling 3-4 years ago offensive line-wise. Of course, Brady makes up for a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
They bring back Dante Scarnecchia, okay? Practically beg him to come back.
Yeah.
And look what he has done with this offensive line the last few years. Guys like Marcus Cannon, who couldn't get out of their own way, Pro Bowl, right tackle. Trent Brown, who the 49ers couldn't wait to get on an airplane and get out of the Bay Area, is playing like a Pro Bowl at left tackle.
So to your point, I actually think there is some talent on the offensive line. Will Hernandez is talented and will be good. And you're making a good point here because I actually think Nate Solder is better than he's showing. He was a pretty good lineman for years. So I agree with you. I think a lot of it is coaching. It's not as talent devoid as everyone thinks, at least in my opinion.
I'm sorry. When you see other offensive lines that are playing beyond their expectations, and Trent Brown, a left tackle, folks, if you guys if nobody realizes who he is or whatever it might be, you're not realizing it yet, just check out the Sunday night game against the Packers. This is a guy who couldn't get out of his own way playing right tackle for the 49ers. Belichick brings him over for, I think, a 6th rounder or whatever it was, 5th rounder to the 49ers. And the guy from the first day of training camp has been incredible for New England. So you tell me, Jerry, now all of us, Jerry, I hate to say this, okay? But even Bobby Hart,
he's playing better.
Watching him for what?
He's playing better.
I'm watching him. Yeah, I'm watching him for the Bengals this year. And I'm saying to myself, he's actually holding his own out there.
Yeah.
So you tell me, Jerry, a guy takes off the Giant uniform, all of a sudden he gets better? A guy takes off a 49 uniform, all of a sudden he gets better?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Or they're not getting coached up here.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Flowers. If somehow Eric Flowers can make any type of career of what he has left, then, I mean, I agree with you already, but that's kind of I guess that would be the final straw, I guess, right? If Jacksonville has an injury and somehow plugs in Eric Flowers and he's successful, then your point is made 10 times.
Listen, I'm not saying coaches are miracle workers, Jerry. I'm not saying you could bring in a Dante Scarnecchia and he's going to make Eric Flowers a Pro Bowl. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that coaches improve technique.
Yep. They
improve a player's marginal talent and make him a little bit better due to technique. Okay, due to twist recognition, blitz recognition. Okay. Now you're trying to tell. I mean, I know the Giants isn't the most talented offensive line, but are they this bad, Jerry?
No, they're not, and they really are not. I like you said, but you look at the talent around the league. And the argument now is when kids come out of college, they're in spread offenses. They're not. Their technique is terrible. But how can then why do so many make it work? Right? Like, what are the Giants take all the? What are we drafting? Only spread offensive linemen?
No, Jerry. Listen, all I'm saying, I'm not blaming this all on offensive line coach Hal Hunter. I'm not.
But he deserves some of it. Yeah.
But this is a business, right, Jerry? It's a production business.
Yep.
And when your offensive line is getting worse as the season moves along, and gives up 7 sacks to the Redskins, 10 hits, you have to start looking at it and go, okay, what are we doing coaching? I mean, why is this team offensive? Why is this unit on the team getting so bad? And I'm sorry, but if a change has to be made after this season, offensive line coach has to be one of them. And I've spoke to Hal Hunter before, Jerry. He's a nice man. He's been in the league a long time. He's a good dude. But the bottom line is what, Jerry? It's a production business.
Yeah.
And these guys aren't producers. So like a corporation, when you're not producing, you're gone.
And it'll be interesting to see the kid they picked up from the Rams, Brown, who's been a pretty solid player. I think he played all 16 games last year. He just got hurt. He was out because of substance abuse, and then someone took his place, and now he was cut. So the Giants picked him up. It'll be interesting to see how well he plays with the Giants, and if he starts going downhill, it'd be another point or more proof to your point that maybe they're not being coached properly. So.
Yeah, listen, like I said, Jerry, I'm not blaming everything on Hal Hunter, but it is a unit that's really playing horrible. And so at the end of the year, I believe a new coach should be brought in here because Hal Hunter's unit is not getting the job done.
Yep. Yes, it's a valid point, and it's something that everybody talks about the head coaches all the time, or the main coordinators, right? Like defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. But this is good because you're bringing up a position coach who is.
Yeah. Jerry, let me ask you this, okay?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this because I put this down on Twitter yesterday. You tell me, I don't care if you disagree with me, you can tell me I'm nuts, but you tell me, how would you evaluate B.W. Webb's play this year?
I don't understand the vitriol from everybody. This is a guy.
No, some people. Some people.
No,
some
but
people.
I think he's been pretty good for. And I guess maybe I'm grading on a curve, but I wasn't expecting much. And I think he's kind of holding his own. But people are writing in like, B.W. Webb, what are you, crazy? I think he's doing okay.
I mean, has he, besides a couple of penalties, I understand that. Okay, I understand that. But has this guy is he getting burned left and right for touchdowns?
No, he's not.
Okay, is he, I mean, am I looking at something else here? They put him on the outside. The only win of the year, he had to play on the outside when Apple was hurt.
Yeah. And
he played pretty decent, right? We talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Played pretty good. I mean, he hasn't been, as I like to say, a buffoon on the outside. The guy's played pretty decent. Okay?
No, I agree with you. I couldn't believe the responses you were getting from, like, B.W. Webb. I'm like, wait, Webb, what?
Right. Now, this is the point I'm making is that secondary coach Lou Anarumo comes over from Miami.
Yeah.
Did some good things in Miami, Lou Anarumo, all right?
Yeah.
Did some good things with Howard. He did some good things with Rashad Jones. Rashad Jones, a Pro Bowl safety for the Miami Dolphins, swears by him. I spoke to Mike Thomas, who came over from Miami. We talked about Coach Lou.
Yeah.
Mike Thomas swears by him.
Yep.
Okay? Says this guy is going to make this secondary better. Okay, so now you look at a guy like B.W. Webb, who's been a journeyman, right? And now they throw him on a corner. First of all, he wasn't even supposed to be on a team, Jerry. All right, he went from being considered for slot against William Gay to beating Gay out. Gay's gone.
Right.
Okay, so now Apple gets hurt. He threw him on the outside. Now he's on the outside because Apple's in New Orleans. I mean, I'm not saying he's a Pro Bowl corner, but do you think this guy's embarrassed us, Jerry? You think
he's held his own, and I'll tell you what, he's someone who I would re-sign next year. As a reserve corner, absolutely 100%.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to be the starting corner next season, but
but as a reserve, he's earned it.
But he's played all right. The guy's played all right. So I look at that and say, you know what? This guy's coached up. So let's look at the secondary coach. Who's coaching this guy? That this guy's holding his own after 6 years in the league, right? And then you look at guys like John Greco, offensive line guys who can't get out of their own way. Who's coaching that unit? Yep. That's my point. That's what I'm saying, Jerry.
No, it's a valid point, and it's something that's not talked about enough. Like I said, they always talk about head coaches, they talk about offensive, defensive coordinators, but it's position coaches a lot of times where, and I think of like Dallas, right? They had Hudson Houck for years, was the offensive line coach.
Yeah.
He was a stud. He was respected in the industry. And
by the way, Jerry, can I just say something quick?
yeah, good.
Jerry, speaking of that, Dallas offensive line hasn't played that good this year, right?
Right.
What did they do last week, bud?
Yeah, that's right. It's a good point.
What did they do? They fired their offensive line coach. That's all I'm saying, bud. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're right. And there are certain guys who are very good at the position coaching, and I think of like Hudson Houck, who, there was talent there, but also he coached him up, and it's not talked about enough. And there are radio hosts who really poo-poo that. They poo-poo like, oh, coaching isn't that important. And like you said, man, I couldn't agree more. Coaching is more important in football than anything. From a motivational standpoint, from an X's and O's standpoint, it's just it affects so much. And if you don't have the right guys in place, you can take the most talented. Look at the Cowboys in 9. They miraculously won in spite of Barry Switzer, and then the team went downhill, and it was because of Barry Switzer was a complete and utter idiot. So anyway, buddy, we're about a half hour in. Let's get to the picks, man. The Giants are off this weekend, so they can't ruin anyone's weekend. Right. And maybe we'll gain a game. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway, 1:00, buddy. Falcons at Redskins.
If you remember the beginning of the year, I told you to speak personally on the phone. I said, watch out for this Redskin team. Yeah. Do you remember? I said they're kind of good. I kind of like the way they look. And the Eagles are 4-4. But I tell you what, I'm going to go with the Falcons this week, bud. I don't know why. I mean, I know the Redskins are 5-2 and all that, but I think the Falcons. The one thing that holds me up about the Redskins is Alex Smith and their offense. They don't have an outside threat. They don't have an outside threat to really scare anybody. Yeah. Peterson looks still pretty good. Don't get me wrong, but how long is he going to last before he breaks down? I think the Falcons are going to upset them this week in Washington.
I agree with the fact that Smith will keep them back, and I'm not that impressed with him. However, Matt Ryan outside, cold day on Sunday. I'm going with the Redskins at home. We'll see if I'm wrong. 1:00, Lions at Vikings.
I like the Vikings in this one.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Snacks Harrison and Kennard and Aquara, your boy Aquara. I'm rooting for all those guys, but I agree. I think the Vikings will come back strong this week.
Yeah.
1:00, probably the best 1:00 game. Steelers at Ravens.
Well, you know what? This Baltimore team a couple weeks ago looked like they're going to win this division, and now they look like they're lucky they finished 500. Yep. And all of a sudden they can't stop anybody. The Steelers seem to be hitting their stride, right? James Conner. I mean, right now in Pittsburgh, they're like Le'Veon who?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, James Conner's been unbelievable for them. Ben's hitting his stride. You know, but the thing that's turning it around for Pittsburgh, Jerry, the last few weeks, their defense has gotten much better.
Yep.
So I like the Steelers on the road in this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. James Conner, man, coming in and doing the job he's done and making Le'Veon Bell just sit there. I thought they handled that beautifully. It's like, you're not going to make us do anything, so good luck holding out still.
Yeah.
Chiefs at Browns. Obviously, I'll go with the Chiefs on this one.
Yeah, listen, you remember me putting it on Twitter after Hard Knocks in August that Hugh Jackson is a clown show. I looked at Todd Haley and Greg Williams, and they were rolling their eyes behind that fool's back.
Hey, Chris, did you hear that Hugh Jackson was fired this week?
And and so it's no surprise that Hugh got it.
Yeah.
And it's no surprise he's going out like a baby too, Jerry. Yeah. Blaming everybody but himself.
Yeah, he wanted Carson Wentz. He wanted all these quarterbacks. Blah,
yeah,
blah,
I know.
blah,
Yeah,
blah,
I know, Hugh. Right. Whatever you say, Hugh. Right. But getting back to the game, I mean, are you serious? Please, Chiefs.
Jets at Dolphins.
Man, I'm going back and forth with this one.
Yeah, me too.
The Jets, Brock Osweiler again. The Jets are hurting on the outside. I think the Jets are going to get a few guys back. I'm going to go with the Jets with an upset in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jets for my buddy Ryan O'Shea, who has called us out on our podcast for destroying the Jets every week. But you know what, buddy?
We don't destroy the Jets, Ryan. We don't destroy them.
I'm going with the Jets, too. Bears at Bills. Oof.
I'm going to go with the Bears, but a real close one.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, the Bills stink. And is Anderson starting again this week? Do you know?
No. Anderson's hurt. It's going to be Peterman. Peterman's back in there.
Jeez. Yeah. Bears should. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be close. I think the Bears are going to win by 10.
Okay.
Buccaneers at Panthers, the last of the ones.
I tell you what, Jerry, for the last 3 weeks, right, I've been saying, I'm not sold on this Carolina team. I'm not sold on this Carolina team. You know what, Jerry? I'm sold on this Carolina team.
Yeah.
Okay. And that DJ Moore kid is really starting to come into his own on it. Their high draft pick.
Yeah.
I like Carolina in this one.
Is he the kid from Brooklyn?
No, that's Curtis Samuel.
Oh, okay.
That's last year's pick. DJ Moore was their pick this year.
I figured that's why you're going that you're speaking so highly of Moore because he's from the neighborhood. I like.
No. He's just. I like the way he's coming to his own. Greg Olsen coming back is huge.
Yes.
Cam is doing his thing.
Yeah.
I like Carolina.
Yeah, I like Carolina too. Buccaneers defense stinks. The Buccaneer offense has been pretty good, but their defense is absolutely terrible. Which is why I thought until the speeding incident that Lauletta would come back in that game because of their defense. And he still may. I don't know how that's transpiring. But anyway, bud, I'm going with the Panthers as well. 4:00. Chargers at Seahawks. This is a good one.
Yeah, I tell you, I know I talked about it last week, but man, Pete Carroll is doing an unbelievable job at the Seahawks team. He really is.
Yep.
But at the same time, I like this Charger team too. What are they, 5-2 now, the Chargers?
Yeah, they are.
I like Rivers. I like the Chargers. It's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one. I think Rivers is just going to do enough to beat Seattle in a close one there.
You bring up a good point. The Charger offense is for real. I didn't think they would. I didn't know how good they'd be this year. I thought Rivers would be kind of on the back nine of his career, but it looks like he's
not at all.
Kind of reborn.
Not at all.
Seahawks at home. Seahawks are still relevant. I struggle with this. Flipping a coin. I guess I'll go with the Seahawks in this one. But barely. I'm not in love with the pick. Texans at Broncos.
I like Denver at home this week. I know the Texans are won 5 in a row, I believe now, in first place, and now they're gonna have Demaryius Thomas going against Denver in his first game as a Texan. But I like the way the Broncos have played the last few weeks. I'm gonna go with the Broncos by about 4 points in this one.
Another tough one, man. I guess because I'm gonna ride the streak of the Texans. I can't believe the Giants beat that team. Looking the way they played lately, I'll go with the Texans by a field goal. This will be a great one, 425. Probably a couple of good games this week. This is one of the games of the week. Rams at Saints.
Rams are 8-0. Very fortunate to win against the Packers last week.
They were.
If Montgomery doesn't come out, Rodgers probably beats them. They got a very close, fortunate win in Seattle. I know the Rams are good, but let's just calm down with the Rams a little bit. They're not an unbeatable team. Okay. I guess what? They're going to get beat Sunday by Drew Brees and the Saints.
I'm going with the Rams. I'm a believer in the Rams. I believe in McVay.
You just cannot. You just hate Drew Brees. I don't know what is this with you and Drew Brees?
Because Drew Brees only plays well in a dome.
Gosh.
I'm sorry.
His
stats outside are half of what they are in the dome, and I want to see that Graham offense in the dome. I want to see what Jared Goff does with those guys. Todd Gurley, I think, is the MVP again right now. And I'm in love with the Rams team. I think that's a 14-2, 15-1 team, and I think they're going to win.
Hey Jerry,
Sunday.
Hey Jerry, this is a huge game. I mean, this could come down to who has home field in January.
Yeah, and this might be the game where whoever has the ball last wins because these offenses are really good. But a little bit, I like that. I like the move the Rams made getting the kid from Jacksonville, Fowler. I think he's that defense is very good.
Yeah.
So and the offense is great. I'm going with the Rams. I'm going with the Rams by a touchdown, I guess.
Okay.
8:20. This is a good one. Another good one. Packers at Patriots. Why does it seem the Patriots play everyone that's any decent at home?
Oh, it does seem that way over the years, right?
Oh my God! No wonder. I mean, the record is so good at home. It's like, can they ever go on the road and play somebody tough?
Yeah, right.
It
does seem like
Boston bias I have right now. After that.
Well, that is like the city of champions up there, right? They just, matter of fact, I think the mayor of Boston just says we can't afford any more of these parades with the Red Sox. But getting back to football, I'm going to go with New England. But I think this is going to be a real tight one too. This might be one of those last team with the ball too. So I'll go with Brady at home.
I'm with you. The Patriots are so tough at home. They're such a good team when they're playing at home in front of their fans. And 8:20 Sunday night, the weather won't be a factor because it's probably gonna be warm considering what Green Bay goes through. But I'll go with the Patriots by, I guess 7-10. I don't know. Like you said, maybe it's the last drive or the last team that has the ball. It's too hard. It's too difficult to pick against them. And Monday.
Did you hear my comment? Did you hear my comment about the Boston mayor? Did you hear that, Jerry? I don't know if you heard that. You didn't respond.
I did. I also heard.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry, but continue.
Heard the comments from that classless manager of yours in Boston as well.
Oh my God, that guy's great, isn't he? Isn't he just great? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I expect that behavior from Philly, not from Boston. But anyway,
what did he do so bad?
Well, he said, 2 words that I don't want to repeat on the podcast because maybe kids listening. And then somebody didn't they throw a beer can at him or something?
That's just all part of the love up in Boston. You know, that's all part of the love. You got to get a beer can off the side of your head sooner or later. That just shows the appreciation for him.
Excellent, great. And Monday night, Titans at Cowboys. Who do you got in this one?
Oh my God, it's not even. I tell you, this Cowboy team. Well, let's see what Amari Cooper does with them. But they're going to smoke Tennessee Monday night. And the Cowboys are what are the Cowboys? 3-4, right, Jerry? I can see the Cowboys having a good second half here. I'm telling you, Jerry. I could see this team, the third ranked in defense. I've been telling you about this defense. This team is building quite a day. The third ranked right now, I believe. I like them. I think they're going to beat Tennessee by about 17 points by the night.
Yeah, I think they're going to win too. But as a Giant fan, I'm rooting.
Me too. I hope Tennessee destroys them.
But I'm saying in the division, the lesser of the three evils for me is the Redskins. Whatever. I mean, everybody has their argument based on where they live. I'm sure anybody who lives south of us says, "Are you crazy?" But Eagles in Dallas. It's like, come on, man. I mean, I can live with the Redskins doing it. So, in order of my having to accept mode, would be Redskins first, then Cowboys, then Eagles. And I know Eagles and Cowboys are interchangeable based on where you live.
Plus, the Redskins, all those years, they had Joe Gibbs, and you couldn't hate Joe Gibbs, right?
No, he was a great coach. And,
he was a good guy, too, Jerry. You couldn't hate him,
Yeah, so I agree with you, though, but I think the Cowboys take it. But anyway, man, another great job. Thanks so much. Be sure to order your copy, folks, of the Giant Insider newspaper. Go to www.giantinsider.com or visit magster.com for a digital subscription. That's magzter.com. Our next podcast will drop at 8 p.m. on Monday, November 5th. The Giants don't play this weekend, where we will give our midseason grades and take your Twitter questions. So we'll send out a tweet on Monday to send in the questions. It's something that we actually enjoy. Some of them are hilarious, and a lot of them are very good questions. So we'll continue to do it. We'll try to get to all of them, but there's more and more coming in now, so we're going to do a little more selective. So get creative with your questions, be funny, and we'll try and read them. But thanks for listening, everyone, to the Giant Insider Podcast. I'm Jerry Foley. He's Chris Bizignano. And remember, guys, Sundays are Giant days. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.